Happy Friday, everybody. This is Branden Hill, aka Nacho Man, from Dental Nachos. I'm so excited, one, that it is Friday, that it's
Right.
November. The weather's not too bad, at least where I am in Philadelphia. I hope you got good weather wherever you are watching this today. And we have a great guest talking about a very important, but sometimes overlooked topic in our lives, whether you are a dentist or a dental professional, or whether you're not. Some of the advice that you're going to hear today from our great guests will be really cool. And we have with us actually Dr. Emily Letran. Dr. Emily Letran is going to talk to us today about how to decrease stress, how to control stress, how to be happier and live a more fulfilled life. A little bit about Dr. Emily Letran. She's a serial entrepreneur, CEO of multiple practices. She is a private coach to many professionals. And as an international speaker, she's been on TEDx and she shared the stage with countless business leaders, including Dr. Howard Farran of Dental Town. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Emily Letran. How are you, Emily?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me on this interview. And I want to add one more thing to my intro, and that
Sure.
is I'm the best mom in the world.
Hey, more than anything, that there's nothing better than being an awesome mom, and I'm glad you know that, but I bet your children know that as well. So that's really awesome. So let's dig into it a little bit. Controlling stress, being happy and more fulfilled. There's a way to do that. I'm sure everybody wants to do that, but I'm not sure many people or everybody knows how to do it. And I know your expertise and your coaching and your advice is around doing just that. So what's the first step? What's the first step to controlling stress, being happier, more fulfilled? Number one.
Yeah, so number one is to have clarity. And, we are all busy. Everybody have more than they can handle in 24 hours. And so my personal thing is I have three children and I had three dental offices at one point, and I'm basically running the show, taking them to school, picking them up from school, taking them home, cooking dinner. My husband has a job, so he goes in the morning, he come back in the evening, right? That's his job.
Yeah, yeah,
And and how do you handle your associates dentists? How do you handle your staff? How do you go and attend your kids stuff, right? the
right.
you know the singing and the activities, and how do you keep yourself sane? So
That's
to
probably the
have
hardest part, just keeping yourself
that
sane.
right, and to
Relate.
have, yes, and having that clarity means knowing exactly what you want. And I know a lot of us say, oh yeah, I know what I want. But when we actually talk about it, for example, I would talk to a coaching client and they say, I want $1 million practice. Why? Well, because everybody's talking about $1 million practice. Why? Well, I don't know, right? And well,
Right.
why don't you want a 5 million? What? How about $5 million practice? How about $1 million practice where you only work part time? So there's all these things that when you're clear in exactly what you want, then you can design a course of action that will take you to
Yes.
exactly what you want, right? So, for
Yes. That,
example,
that's that's such a good point.
yes. So one of my
Yeah,
exit
it's such a good
strategies,
point. I think a lot of No, I was just going to say, I think a lot of people
yeah,
that I
mhm,
talk to do just what you said. We talk to a
mhm,
lot of dentists, obviously, every day here at Dental Nachos. Everybody wants that $1 million or more practice, and a lot of times, either they don't know why they want it. They just, like you said, they just were told that that's the goal, if you will. Especially a lot of the new practice owners. But there has to be something else fulfilling you. And not to steal your thunder, I know you're going to talk about fulfillment, but there has to be something else fulfilling you than just the raw numbers or being able to say I own this or I have this. So that's a very good point, Emily.
yes. So when I talk to people and they say, I want more time with my family, right? I still want $1 million practice, but I also want more time with my family. Then that design is a little different, right?
Right.
Because then how do you do it so that you have more time with your family? You might have to give up some control and put in an associate, because the somebody got to be there to help you run the office while you're home hanging out with your kids. I remember when I have my third my third child, so my two younger kids are 18 months apart. I just go into the office and I say, okay, I'm going to work from 9 to 2 now. And everybody's, what happened to 2 to 6? I don't know. I'm going to find somebody to put in there to work in the afternoon. And I was very lucky. I found an associate who wanted to work from 1 to 7 because she wanted to be
Nice,
home in the morning for her kids. And when her
nice.
husband get home, she's gonna work, right? But the thing is, you make that decision, you go out and you look in the universe, and
Hmm.
sometimes that whatever you're looking for will show up when your intention is very clear. And so I remember for about 2 years, I worked from 9 to 2. And I had patients who come in and say, but I really want to see you. And I said, okay, then you're going to show up sometime between 9 and 2, because for these 2 years, this is my time, right? So
Right.
when you are very clear, whether it's clear in, okay, who are going to be my friends? I don't want the whiners. I don't want the people who have a lot of negative views, or people who want to talk politics, right? They can be your casual friends, but they're not going to be my friend. They're not going to be the one, if they text me, I'm going to answer, kind of thing. Then all of
Right.
a sudden, you don't have to answer to certain people. If you say you want $1 million practice, you work out the numbers, you know your average production per hour, you know how many days you work, you work backwards, and you figure out, I got to work so many days, and you tell your staff, you need to book me, X $1,000 per day of production. And then, surprise, you actually get to the number, right?
Right.
Yeah, if you
They
just
they say they
calculate it
say
like
they
that.
say what gets measured gets done. So I mean, you're
Right,
absolutely right. If you work backwards, calculate, measure it, you'll be.
right.
It's miraculous how things start to make sense and unfold properly when you do that. One of the things you talked about, and that was really a thing that goes on a lot in the dental nachos group, just talking about staffing needs and knowing when you need staff and what type of help you need, what hours you need them. Dr. Nacho Paul talks a lot about not just how to hire and find an associate, but how to find the right fit for your practice.
Right.
He also talks a lot with associates looking for associates, just on how to find the right practice. But one of the things, Ariel is with us today, sharing some things in the chat and in the comment section on Facebook. I'd love Ariel share a little bit just about our Job Connect program, which is a big thing that we're doing and building in Dental Nachos. A lot of people have taken advantage of it, both people who have jobs to offer, as well as people who are looking for jobs. So lots of resources in our Job Connect program. Arrows want to share a lot of that. I just wanted to bring that up because knowing how to build your staff around the needs that you have after you have that clarity is such an important thing.
Yes, and that just segue right into the second thing, which is to increase productivity.
Oh, we love that
Because
word.
yes, and the thing though is sometimes people think about productivity and they think, oh, is that production number, right? How can we get high on the production number? True, but that's only part of it. How about if you get to that production number, but you're not tired and exhausted? Right?
Right.
How about if you do that, but maybe you're not even in the office? I remember going to one of these dental. It was a dental meeting by one of the dental consultant, and he said, turn to the person next to you and share a win, right?
Right.
And I was my head was we were on the East Coast, so I'm 3 hours behind, so I'm sort of waking up. So I turned over to the doctor and I said, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, yesterday we did $13,000 in production." And the great thing is I wasn't there.
That's the biggest part of the win.
Yeah, yeah, that was a big win. Now, people may say, "Oh, yeah, you're just bragging." No, I'm not bragging. I'm saying that because yesterday was when the periodontist was in there, so I wasn't
Right.
there, and I got 45% of that particular, collection.
Right.
So for me, that's a win, right?
Absolutely.
Somebody else may say, well, I would rather be the one producing and take home the whole 13,000. Well, for me, I was glad that I wasn't there because actually I was traveling to this meeting, right? So in
Hmm.
the morning I was doing some other stuff, and then off I went. So to see, that's where the clarity come in. You want
Yes.
to get that number, but how do you get to that number? Because if it's just you and you maximizing your production, how much faster you can grow depends on if you can bring in a specialist, you can bring in an associate at the right time if the numbers, indicate that, or you want to add an associate because you want some time off for yourself. And
Right.
that's how you grow without exhausting yourself, right?
Right.
Because being productive is leveraging everybody, getting people to work for you, giving off some of that control and trust. A lot of people have a problem trusting other people.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, you can't have leverage unless you give up control. That's
right,
what
right.
leverage is all about. I love how you you know, and it seems simple, but a lot of people just don't think about it, how the fact that you can't even measure productivity and what that means until you have the clarity. And that's why the clarity is first. Like you said, productivity is not just the numbers. It's everything that makes you feel productive. Did you have the work-life balance that you need? Did you, you know, keep your sanity? Did you tend to your family and collect an amount of money that makes that worthwhile? So I love that combination. I love understanding productivity, mind you, in the terms of clarity. So talk to me just a little bit about how you do that and how specifically you know, recommend that people do that, and some of the, you know, things even with your coaching that you do to help people maximize productivity.
Well, so I already mentioned bringing in associates, bringing
Yes.
in specialists, bringing in the experts, right? Maybe like for me, for years, I don't like to do root canal.
Hmm.
So if an associate come in can do root canal, wonderful, right? Um, I don't like surgery. I could do it. I just don't enjoy it. So I
Right.
got the oral surgeon, the periodontist. Um, I I don't mind ortho, but I think it's boring. So I have an orthodontist who come in. But at the same time, I've gone and I've done the training. So I know exactly what they're doing. If they are having difficulty or if they're BSing to me, I'm going to be
Right.
able to know, right? So that being still being in control, because you can do quality control, check.
Right.
But at the same time, you're giving up the work. The other thing is to know how to work with your staff. You know how unproductive it is when people are just fighting with each other, and
Oh
or
yeah.
they gossiping and they don't like so and so, you know. So one of the tools that I use, and I actually got certified in this process, is the Kobe test.
Okay.
The Kobe system is a short assessment that you take, and it tells you, there's a couple of steps to it, but the very first step is it tells you about your natural talent. Whether you're the type of person who is totally detailed, right? Very detail oriented. You're going to ask 20,000 questions before you make a decision. Or maybe you're the one that really like everything organized, right? Everything in boxes. There's a list, there's a check mark, label
Right.
everything, and making sure that every step is followed through. Or maybe you're like me, kind of all over the place. I say yes here, and then I say yes there, and then I change my mind, and I read 3 books at a time. um, that I'm what we call a quick start. Or
Right.
you have somebody who is called an implementer, and that's the kind of person who like to build things, who like to use their hands. They very structure oriented, physical structure, right? They're gonna organize stuff. We those are the natural talents. So imagine if you're the detail oriented person, and I just walk up to you and say, Brendan, can you get this done by tomorrow? And then I just walk away, and you're sitting there going, why are we doing this? What are the steps? Like, she just
Right.
said to do this yesterday, and now she's changing her mind. So right there, we have conflict,
Yes.
right? We're going to have some stress. Not that I don't like you or you don't like me, it's just because I think different and you think different. So when you have a team and you actually understand, oh, Brendan, he's like that. So before I ask Brendan to do that task, I'm going to give Brendan some data. Okay,
Right.
so if Brandon wants to read it, he can read it, right? So he can satisfy his needs, which is I need to understand all the data, and I'm gonna give Brandon, like a checklist, like a step. These are follow this. So excuse me. So that way you're not gonna get stressed out when I ask you to do that.
Right. That's
I'm not.
such an important point, Dr.
Yes,
Emily, because
yes.
and what you're saying, and I know you advise dentists, but and I know most of the people listening to this are dentists and dental professionals, but this is great advice for anyone who's worked anywhere or been anywhere, done anything. And you know, so much of what you're talking about just makes sense from starting with the clarity, and you know, to get the proper productivity. But team building, it's something everyone talks about. I don't think everyone knows exactly how to do it, and I know you with your Colby training and some of your other coaching have done a great job helping people see how to do that step by step. What else would you say? Like, so you get that you've got the clarity, you know what productivity means for you. You start to now learn how to build a team based on personality and traits. What's the next step? You know, if I'm a dentist and I've got my practice, I started my practice. You know, I talk to you. I know, okay, it's not about whether I make $1 million this year or not. You've given me some clarity or helped me find clarity. I know what productivity means. Now I'm learning from you how to build a team. What's the next missing ingredient? if I'm trying to build a practice from scratch or if I'm trying to change and revamp a practice that I have.
Yes. So, a lot of us, when I talk to a lot of our colleagues, we are all great dentists, right? We think we're great because we've gone and done the training. We've gone to, I don't know, in my days, maybe you go to LVI. I don't even know if LVI is still around because I haven't heard a lot about it. But now there are people going to train, clinical mastery, right? Or maybe you
Right.
go to Spear or wherever you go and you get all of these training, the 10 days. Implant training and everything. And then you come back, excuse me, you come back and you are the best kept secret
Hmm.
because you never put yourself out there. You've never done the marketing. And a lot of us, and it's not anybody's fault when they first come out of school because they never taught us that in school.
Yep.
But I think 5 years into practice, you don't have an excuse. If it's something that you don't know, you got to go find a source, find a course to learn, or
Right.
maybe get a coach or a consultant and learn from them, right? Because there's actually no excuse. It's like if I don't know how to do implant, well, how am I going to do implant? I have to go sign up for a course. So this is the exact same thing about marketing, which is to create influence. And what that means is if you are out there, and I'm just talk real quick, let's say external marketing.
Right.
If I'm gonna write an article and it get published in Dental Town, right? Or if I'm going to write just a column and it is in the local newspaper. What if I write a column about excuse me, how not to eat all the Halloween candy, right? Because it's going to kill your teeth. What
Right.
if I write a column like that and I put it in a local newspaper and the whole town could read about it? Now I become a celebrity compared
Right.
to the other doctor down the street. Now, some people are going to say, I don't know what to write about. I don't know, who do I call? Those are the marketing questions where you learn where to put your effort. Again, we're going back to having clarity and maximizing
Right.
your productivity, right?
Always goes back to those two, right?
Yes, yes. So let's say you put yourself out there, maybe you write an article. Um, the being a sponsor, like I'm grateful to be part of the sponsor for Naturals, but that's how you stand out. You go to a local health fair event, instead of getting that booth for $150, spend the 500, right? As a
Right.
sponsor. So they're gonna announce your names a couple of times, they're gonna put up a banner for you, whatever it is. This is to create influence, positioning yourself as an expert and authority. And one of the resources that I talk to my clients about is called M Live, which is an
Right.
automation of marketing system, right? Where I'm sure you've heard about it, where people say, on top of mind, right? So when people
Right.
think about whatever procedure, they're going to think about you. So this is a marketing system where if you do a Facebook ads and somebody click on it and they say they might want to come to your office, you have automation of emails and things sent out. So keep reminding them, hey, you said you
Right.
were
I see.
interested in Invisalign. Same thing with your patients who haven't come back. You keep telling them, you still have that bridge. No, I'm just kidding.
But you know what, Dr. Emily said something really cool, and I want you to go back to talking a little bit about tools like M Live, but I love that, obviously marketing comes up. Most dentists who've been practicing for any amount of time have, been approached by marketers. Someone's told them they need to change their marketing, do this with marketing, do that with marketing. There's different types of marketing. There's different types of marketing professionals. There's all types of price points from paying, a few marketing to paying tens of thousands of dollars for marketing. I think that word sometimes marketing scares dentists from a business standpoint, because when they hear it, they automatically think of something that is going to be very expensive and they don't know what results they're going to get or if it's going to be worth it. But I love that you're reframing the mind as far as not just talking about marketing, but making it about influence. So that might not mean the traditional marketing that is good, but is not always what might be needed at that moment. But influence is always needed. So I love just the point you made about not spending for the $150 table, but getting the $500 one. Little things like that of being, not being penny wise, but dollar foolish, I think make a huge difference in influence. So I just wanted to point that. I think that was very important distinction that you made about it's about increasing influence. And if you look at your marketing efforts from that standpoint, I think it becomes a little bit easier. And then the other thing that I think I don't want anyone to miss out is like you got to learn, just like you got to learn a little clinical skill. You have to learn about increasing that influence and finding those resources. So that's great. I mean, but tell me just more about like tools like MLive and other things that people can do to increase that influence.
Well, my thing always is, and going back to clarity, and just notice I keep talking about the same thing, but are we all clear about it, right? Because sometimes you have to keep talking about the same thing to get the point across. So, for
Right.
example, if you're gonna go and sign up, well, let's just take an easy example. Let's say you're gonna go and buy a cone beam, right? And then you're gonna spend, let's say, 60,000. What is the ROI on that, right? A lot of us, I know, we buy, and the first advantage is the depreciation, right? We're
Right.
gonna buy, but before the end of the year, I'm gonna depreciate. I'm gonna subtract 65,000 or whatever it is. I understand that part. But if you look at the ROI, what is the ROI on the 65,000? If you want to have a 2 to 1, well, you better produce 130,000 from that 3D, right? Now, if you're going to do marketing, if you're going to send out an email even to your existing patients and reminding them that they need to come back in, just imagine if you send it out to 100 patients with insurance, right? And each one of them still have $1,000, that's $100,000 that is potentially going to come back to you. If you're going to send the email the email out today, you got I don't know, 45 days or so to get them in to produce that $100,000,
Got
right?
it.
Now,
Right.
now you send it out and they didn't answer, and this sequence will automatically keep bugging them for a couple of times. So that's where the productivity comes in. But look at the ROI, right? Whatever money you spend for the system, there's a potential of $100,000 coming back. So if
Right.
you know the value of your patient, whether it's a new patient or it's an existing patient, or if you're sending them out specifically to these PPO patients that each have $1,000 or whatever in their remaining for the remaining year, you can see the potential for the ROI. So when you have that clarity, I'm going to do this activity and I know that this is the potential. Instead
Right.
of I'm just gonna send out postcards and hope people come in, right? When you know what you're shooting for and you have an idea of how profitable it could be, how much how many fold the ROI is,
Right.
I think you would focus your attention to this campaign over here rather than trying to bring patient in so you can use your 3D, your cone beam.
Makes perfect
So,
sense. Makes
right?
perfect, and that goes
Yeah,
right back to what gets measured gets done. But like you said, it goes
right.
back to having the clarity, so you know what productivity means, and things just start to make sense. I mean, you make it sound so easy, and I know it's not always that easy, which is why people like you exist in the world to help coach people through these things. So and you've been great, and you've given us a lot of good information. And I wanted to make sure we talk a little bit about how people can reach you and how you can help them directly. Dr. Emily is a key resource and sponsor of Dental Nachos. She's a great resource to the group and a great help to the dentist in the group. But talk to me a little bit about your strategy for coaching. I know you can do one-on-one coaching, but you also have these great group sessions that can be done. So talk to me a little bit about that, as well as what that means for the members of Dental Nachos, because I think you have something special that you're offering us.
Yes, absolutely. People can text the word coach to 626 298 7587. And then
Excellent.
what we'll do, and I know you have a number too, and what we do is we'll give them the special natural VIP treatment, right?
We like that. We like
Yes,
that.
yes. So a lot of the things I talk about, the first thing I hope people see is it's a different insight, right? You've been looking at that way, and then I say something different, and then you look at it different, and you say,
Yes.
hey, maybe this thing makes sense. Have you tried it? And then I say, yeah, I've been doing this for 28 years, because a lot of time what I recommend is what I have done myself or what I know. If I haven't done it myself, I know the company or I know the person who have used it, right? There's
Right.
not going to be some random resource that I pick out from another seminar kind of thing. So my main thing is to help people in a group, and we're talking about support. Sometimes you think you're the only one having a September, right? And then you talk to the group and everybody's having a September, but
Right.
whoever does not have that, we want that person to share with us, hey, what you do? Oh, I prep for it 3 months before. Oh, there you go. Right. It's like the end of the year thing. First we say send a reminder to come in before the end of the year in October, and now we're in August. Send the darn thing out
Right, right.
because people sometimes just need time to try to get it
True,
in. I,
true.
I don't I don't want to have a killer, December 31st. I don't want it. I don't need it. Where everybody just call you and say, I need to use my insurance. So the preparation, how people approach things when it's in a group, there is support, right?
Right,
We
right.
don't feel that we're alone. I would share with you my strategies. I would share with you my expertise. I bring in other experts who can help you solve other problem, because believe it or not, there's more to life than dentistry, right?
Yes,
There's your kids, there's your spouse, there's your family, your legacy, you in the community, your mental health, your physical health, your financial health. There's a lot of things, and so we
right.
bring all of that in to our group coaching program, and you can do it monthly. You can sign up monthly. The best thing is to sign it up for the whole year. And when you're a VIP with Nachos, you get a discount. And right now, we're actually doing I call it a Black Wednesday um,
Okay,
special, because I put it out on a Wednesday.
okay.
Talking about marketing, everybody's talking about Black Friday. You don't have to talk about Black Friday. You can make up your own thing.
Do your own thing.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
So mine is a Black Wednesday, and I think you get up to 50% off, right?
Oh,
But
yes.
but but it's expiring like next week in a couple of days.
So right, so again, so what I'm hearing from you just about the group coaching, and I love that you explained it with the other experts and how there's more to life than just what's going on in your dental practice. Sounds like it's a very holistic approach to doing what this whole conversation is about, which is controlling stress, being happy, and more fulfilled. So I love that you do that in a group setting. I love that you bring in other experts. I love that it's affordable and that there's some also awesome VIP nacho discounts or dental nachos world. We love discounts. It gets us all excited. So tell us again. I know those of you who text dental nachos all the time can text coach to 215-543-6454. I know Ariel's putting some information in the comment section. That's coach to 215-543-6454. There's also a link that'll be in the comment section that you can use to get right to that information. And any other ways that they can reach you, Emily, because other than being a key resource to sponsor Dental Nachos, you're just a great person in the group. You're very active. You share, you advise, we love people who participate and contribute to the group the way you do. So I know people can find you very easily posting things and talking about things in the group, but how can they reach you directly?
Well, they can also just text me, and they can text me to the same number that I gave earlier, which is 626-298-7587. If
Awesome.
they want to directly, book a consultation, and I would gladly do that for about 30 minutes. It would be to help you solve a problem, like solve one problem, and see if we are a good fit to work with each other,
Excellent.
right? And it's
Excellent.
not it's not like, hey, if you come on this call, then you're gonna have to hire me. No, usually when I come on those calls, somebody have an issue, and I help them solve it, and then I would explain to them. I can also help them going forward, and if they want to sign up, they can sign up, and that is they can go to exceptionalleverage.com/form FORM, and it basically will take you to a questionnaire. You
Okay.
answer those questions, so I can, I come to the call prepared. I know there's certain things that you want to address, right? And then we'll address one of those things, and we'll see if it makes sense for us to work together. I think a lot of time, and I'll be real honest with you, sometimes it bugs me when people post anonymously. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just personally think, again, it may be because I teach people about influence.
Right.
Influence is about putting yourself out there, right? Maybe you have a challenge. It's just so much easier when somebody say, this is me and I have this issue. Because sometimes we're reading some of those posts, we don't know if it's a real person, right? And there are other people who make comments about that too. But my point here is have that courage. The
Right.
courage when you step up and you say, I'm good, let's say in the community, the courage when you step up in your dental community with your colleagues and say, I'm good. The courage to say, you know what, I have this challenge. who can help me, right? And the influence, because influence works, if you're very specific about it and you know why you're doing it, then there's nothing to be ashamed about, if that makes any sense. It would
No,
be,
it makes perfect
yeah,
sense. I know, and I know that's hard for a lot of people
yes,
who are concerned about certain how people perceive them. But that, and I know we can probably talk for hours and hours about perceptions and confidence,
right,
and I know you probably go through all that with your coaching clients. But this was great, and then I wanted to jokingly but seriously, the only thing people like better than a big discount, which you're already giving to people in Dental Nachos for your group sessions, is free. And so I encourage everybody listening, if you want any guidance from Dr. Emily about controlling stress, being happy, being more fulfilled, seeing how to get that clarity. Maybe you need somebody to tell you a couple things to help you figure out that clarity on your own. Please take advantage of her free consultation. I think it's a great thing. I think you've been a great resource and help. Before we go, any closing remarks you want to give to the Nacho world?
well, there's a saying, um, the definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
I think there are a lot of us, and I'm not talking about dentists, I'm talking about in general. There are a lot of people who do the same thing and just hope that it will get better.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you that unless you make a change, whether it's a change in your thinking or it's a change in your action, everything is going to be the same. The economy will always change, and the president will change every 4 years. The outside world, there will always be changes, and most of them you have absolutely no control over. So I would like to challenge anybody who listen to this, right, to make a change. And
Excellent.
if you're not sure what the change is, okay, well then book a call with me. Maybe I can tell you, well, from the first three things you say, I I know what kind of change you can
Right.
do.
Right.
But you got to make a change. If you're at a $500,000 practice, you're gonna need to do something to get it to 1 million,
Right.
right? Sometimes you may even need new staff, or you may need to change out your staff. There's all these things that business, just the regular business models have proven that whatever gets you here will not get you there.
Right.
And if you're not sure, well, what do you mean? Well, that's what the talk is going to be about. That's what we can discuss, because it takes a change in the mindset, it takes a change in the action, and it takes a change in your commitment, right? Obviously,
Yep.
running a multi-million-dollar practice is going to be different than running something for $500,000. I have one comment that stuck with me years ago, when I was trying to buy $1 million practice, and the broker said, "Well, Emily, they're not going to sell." They're not going to sell it to anybody who have not had $1 million practice, right? I still remember him saying, and I said, "Yeah, I know, but my other one is already $1 million." And he go, "Oh, okay, then I'll tell him about you," right? And and this is a broker, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that the broker should not say that, but it tells you that, it indirectly right there, it tells me you got to be at that level in order to lead that kind of practice.
Right.
And sometimes some of us, we set those higher goals for the business, but we don't set it for ourselves, our personal self. And I bet you that your business growth is limited by your personal growth,
Absolutely.
and you got to make a change in your personal growth, which is a lot of it is what my program is about. And so that way you can make that change in your business, and then you can be much better for your family, your spouse, your children, and be nicer to yourself and live a happy, fulfilled life.
Thank you so much, Dr. Emily.
Sure.
And thank you for your closing remarks. So the challenge to everybody who wants to learn how to control stress, live a happier and more fulfilled life, as well as have that in their practice, is to make a change. And if you don't know what that change is, Dr. Emily's happy to help you. Sign up for her free consultation. If nothing else, sign up for the group session, especially with that discount. But I encourage everyone to reach out to Dr. Emily. The information is in the comments section. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Dr. Emily, for sharing with us and teaching us today, and giving us some great confidence on this happy Friday. So long, everybody. We'll talk again. I'll be seeing you guys again soon with another guest, probably in a week or so. But thank you, Dr. Emily, and have a great day.
Yeah. Thank you.